Hi everyone, welcome back to another beautiful yoga session. Today's class is another 30-minute yoga session and we'll be concentrating mostly on the lower body, hips, adductors, legs, all that fun stuff, bit of lower back. All these really important things that they get nice and cramped up from sitting down at chairs all day or walking in funny ways. So let's definitely get that nice and open. This session goes out to a beautiful family member of mine, Kat, over in New Zealand. We love you, we miss you, and we hope to see you as soon as humanly possible. Any requests from anyone else, always feel free to send them through. Today we're going to start just sitting down on the mat. We're going to start a nice Japanese child's pose. You're only really going to need your mat today, but if you prefer having some cushions or anything like that available, absolutely feel free. Japanese child's pose here, I want you to take the hands behind the back, gently rocking back, and I like to keep fingers pointing towards the end of the mat as we just open the chest and just let the weight fall back. However, a little bit active through the shoulders as I want you to push through the palms, keeping those arms nice and strong so we don't just dump and roll through the shoulders. Just a gentle chest opener here. Really small, gentle version of a half camel. If this doesn't feel very comfy on the neck, you can choose to do a throat opener and drop the head back, or tuck chin to chest to protect the neck if it's not feeling very open today. One more round of breath here. Exhale, pushing through the hands as we come over to a tabletop. Let's start with a little bit of a wrist warm up before we really get going here. Pushing through the hands, let's just gently bob the weight back and forward as we gently bend and hinge at the hips to take the weight over the hands, so shoulders drop behind the hands and then in front of the hands. Nice bit of a wrist opener here to begin with. Just 3 more rounds, bobbing forward and back. Using the breath to flow through the body. Maybe it's an inhale forward for you and an exhale as you drop back. One more back and forward with the breath. Beautiful work. Turning the hands around to now face the body. So thumbs out towards the side edges of the mat. Again, gently bobbing forward and back. This one, depending how tense the wrists are and how strong your mobility might be, you might not go very far backwards. That is totally fine. We just want to concentrate on keeping the palms of the hands on the mat as much as we can. Gentle bobbing back and forward here. Nice and strong through those arms, nice and straight through the elbows, and if available, really pushing through the shoulder blades to round the upper back. Think a nice long line from the hands right up through the shoulder blades. One more round of bobbing back and forward here. Beautiful work. Peeling the hands off the mat, sitting back on the heels. Give them a little bit of a shake out. When you are ready, crawling the hands down the mat into our extended puppy pose. You might want to come back a little further on your mat. We want the hips over the knees, similar to our tabletop. However, from tabletop, we're taking the hands out nice and long, but keeping those hips very high. Keeping the hips aligned with the knees as we drop the forehead or the chest, maybe resting the chin on the ground. If it's not available to you, stack up some cushions here, or maybe a yoga block as we open through the shoulders, the armpits, through the back. I always love how this one really feels all across the shoulders, big opening through the armpits and the shoulder blades, all that area, it just really opens up. 2 more rounds of breath here. On the next exhale, pushing through the hands, crawling the hands back towards you as we drop the knees nice and wide, drop the belly between the thighs, child's pose. Booty resting back towards the heels, pushing through the hands to make sure that the booty drops onto those heels. Keep the booty nice and heavy, opening through the hips. And here it's a nice passive child's pose. Let's just get a really nice kind of calibration of where our hips are today. Two more rounds of breath here. With every breath, can you drop that belly a little closer towards the mat? Really just use the body weight to drop on in. On the next inhale, pushing through the hands, bringing knees so they're not completely touching, but knees under hips, sitting up nice and tall here. So we're generally going to put hands to mat for balance as we take the right foot out to the right hand side of the mat as we hinge at the hips, dropping chest and belly towards the ground, crawling the hands out for a variation of our extended puppy pose. Here we're going to start firing up through the adductors, but I want you to think about, to make this one nice and juicy, pushing through the outside of that right foot, all through the blade of the right foot here. Concentrate on that. The more we do that, the more you will activate through the adductors and the hips to really get a deep opening here. Keep pushing through those hands, trying to sit the booty just a little bit back to keep opening through the adductors, all through the inside of the thighs. This one of my beautiful instructors, Danique, I love her. She showed us this one earlier in the week and I've absolutely fallen in love with it. Check her out at Element Studio if you're in Brizzy. It is amazing. Beautiful work. Now crawling the hands over towards the right as we take the left hand on top of the right hand for a nice deep side stretch as we keep dropping the shoulder, the left shoulder and the belly closer towards the mat. If you can drop down to the forearms, go for it. If you're up here and that's where we're at, that is totally fine. That is exactly what you want. Just keep trying to drop things more towards the mat and over time things will open. One more round of breath here. On the exhale, crawling those hands back to center as we take the right leg, and I want you to cross it through underneath as we drop down onto the right hip, kicking that right leg out to the side through the hands, similar to if we were doing our striking cobra. We're now gently going to take the chest towards the mat as we lie down on the mat in this slight twisted position with the right leg kicked out to the left. Here I want us to think about trying to square off the hips, so trying to get the left shoulder closer towards the mat as we gently do a nice kind of reverse twist here. It's not a pose that we do very often. It's nice to make different shapes. Keep our body guessing. Beautiful work. Pushing through the hands as we come back up, bringing the right knee back underneath the body as we step the left foot now out nice and long, pushing through the outside left blade of the foot, pushing that into the ground, gently dropping the hips slightly back as we reach the hands out nice and long. Extended puppy pose variation. Again, the more we think about pushing through the outside edge of that left foot, the more we're going to fire up the adductors as we keep dropping the chest, head, and belly towards the ground, keeping those shoulders squared off towards the mat as much as we can. One more round of breath here. On your next exhale, crawling the hands over towards the left-hand side of the mat, taking right hand on top of the left as we do a big side body stretch here. Pulling back the right hand against the left is a nice way to really open the side body, or simply placing the hands on the ground and just kind of pulling back as we keep dropping those shoulders towards the mat. But a nice big side body opener here with the added flavor of an adductor stretch. Beautiful work. One more round of breath here. On your next exhale, crawling hands back to center as we kick that left leg through so it crosses underneath the body as we drop the left hip to the ground. And again, trying to keep the shoulders squared off towards the front of the mat as much as we can as we drop forward and gently lower chest towards the ground. Gentle way to open the outside of that left hip. And again, keep our body guessing. Beautiful work. On the next exhale, pushing through the hands. However, we're not going to come back to center just this time. I want us to cross the right leg underneath the left, and then we step the left foot over the right knee as we try and get the booty, both cheeks on the ground. We're coming into this cross-legged position. So the right leg is bent and tucked underneath with the right foot around towards the left buttocks, and the left foot is crossed up over the top of the right leg, pressing the left foot nice and firmly into the ground. If that isn't available to you, that's totally fine. Step the left foot just in line with the right knee, and here that is totally fine. Stepping, if available to you, that left foot back over. Here we're going to do some nice gentle twists, but I want us to flow with our breath. So on the inhale, rising hands to the sky, think nice long spine while we keep both booty cheeks on the mat. On the exhale, dropping left hand to the mat, right hand towards the front of the room as we twist towards the left, but with a nice arm opener here as well. Looking back over the left shoulder. Now with the breath, inhale, rise hands to the sky. Exhale, right hand to the mat, left hand towards the front of the room as we look over the right shoulder. Inhale, rise hands up. Exhale, left hand to the ground, right hand to the front, gentle twist looking over left shoulder. Beautiful work. Hands rise up, right hand drops to the mat as we reach that left hand forward, looking out over our right shoulder. One more round here. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, dropping round, nice gentle twist. Final side, hands to the sky, right hand to the ground, reaching left arm forward, looking out over the right shoulder. Beautiful work. Unwrapping the legs, coming back around to a tabletop position momentarily, dropping hips towards feet, child's pose. However, this time I'd like us to bring our knees nice and close together for a child pose variation. Pushing through the fingertips, thinking like our cupcake hands as well. So if you had a cupcake under each, you wouldn't be squishing your cupcake. Keep that cupcake safe. So pushing through the fingertips, opening through the arms as we continue to push back through and dropping the booty towards the heels, and allow the upper chest to just drop towards the knees, towards the mat. Just gentle opening of the shoulders here, but it's nice and supported for the lower back. With the exhale, dropping nice and deep. Keep those arms nice and active. Dropping chest closer towards the knees. Beautiful work. On the next inhale, rising up, pushing through the hands, and we're going to come to a gentle standing position at the top of the mat. When you are ready, inhale, hands rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Big bend in the knees. This time we're going to be wrapping our hands around our elbows for rag doll. So really generous bend through the knees. I want you to gently sway side to side as we support the arms and the upper body, but we just release all the tension. And the gentle sway side to side. Feel where your weight is going. Maybe one side of the lower back is tighter than the other. Perfectly natural. It always depends how we sit. If we cross our legs in one way more than the other. All those fun things we do. Beautiful work. Dropping hands to the mat, stepping right foot back down the mat, dropping knee to the ground, untucking the toes, pushing through the hands as we open the chest towards the front of the mat. If this is, if the ground is really far away for you right now, that is totally fine. It can take time to get there. Grab some yoga blocks, some cushions, some cans of soup, anything that's going to help you here, because we really want to use those hands to support and open the chest whilst opening through these hip flexors. So this one always has the added bonus. We have compression of the hip flexor on the left-hand side and opening of the hip flexor on the right. The more we compress a muscle as well, once we open it again, it's like, oh yeah, this is relaxation. So compression can be just as good as a big opening stretch. One more round of breath here. On the exhale, dropping booty back to heel, tucking the toes to give you a little bit of height as you drop booty onto that heel as we drop, think chin to shin for a lovely little runner lunge or half split. Beautiful work. Let's flow with the breath here. Inhale, back to low lunge. Exhale, runner lunge. Opening through the whole back of the left leg. Inhale, runner lunge. Beautiful work. Keep it going now. Think square those hips off in space. Exhale, runner lunge. Beautiful work. Dropping the belly towards the leg. Can you get any more space through the back of that leg? Beautiful work. Back to low lunge, using the power of the back leg. So really power up that back leg now, raising knee off the ground. If that is not available to you, keep that knee planted. That is totally fine. However, pushing through the right hand, taking left hand to the sky for a twist here. Beautiful extended lunge twist. This time I want you to think about pulling that left hip back in space to square those hips off to feel a big opening through the left hip. Hands to the ground, pivoting on both toes towards the long edge of the mat as we bend into the left knee for Skandasana to the front edge of the mat. Now, depending how mobile your hips are, you might be up here. That is totally fine. Right leg is nice and straight, toes to the sky, and over time, we want to see how far we can drop in and maybe keep hands at heart center or hands on the ground. Using that left arm to push that left knee back out in space as we keep those right toes towards the sky. Beautiful work. Hands to the mat, pivoting back to the front of the mat, dropping right knee, bringing left knee back to meet right. Knees nice and wide, dropping into a wide child's pose. Beautiful work. I know that can be a strong one. After your next exhale, pushing through the hands, stepping right leg forward now for low lunge as we open through the left hip flexor, compressing through the right. Hands on the mat or on our blocks or cushions as we pull chest through. A nice opening through the chest to really bend and compress that hip flexor on the right and open through the left. Can you tuck your tail under any more to really feel that opening? Exhale, untucking the toes, dropping booty onto left heel. Think chin to shin as we bow over the extended right leg. Let's flow with our breath here for 3 rounds. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half split. Keep thinking, square the hips off and bring that knee towards the sky. Inhale, back to low lunge. Exhale, run a lunge. One more round here. Inhale, push through the hands. Nice big opener to that hip flexor. Exhale, back onto the heel. Beautiful work. Pushing through the hands, charging through our back foot as we raise the knee off the ground, planting through the left hand, keeping that back knee on the ground if you had in the first round. As we push through the left hand, running right hand up the body for a nice twist. Now you can look towards the sky, but if that doesn't feel comfortable on the neck, feel free to keep looking at the mat, wherever is more comfortable for your neck today. Beautiful work. Hands to the mat as we pivot on our feet towards the long edge of our mat, bending into right knee, Skandasana to the front of the mat. Hands to the chest or hands on the ground. If your hands are on the ground, use that right elbow to push open that right hip. Really see how far we can push that right knee out in space. Keeping left leg nice and strong, toes to the sky. Inhale back, cross the center, bending through the left leg, Skandasana to the back of the mat. Beautiful work, pushing through the hands, pivoting on the toes, back to the top of the mat. Swing that right leg around in space back to tabletop as we crawl the hands back out, extended puppy pose down the mat. Keep dropping the chest towards the ground. Beautiful work. One more inhale here. On the exhale, crawling those hands a little down the mat as we tuck the toes, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Here we want to think nice long through the side body, pushing through the hands, wrapping the armpits underneath the body, activating the side body, dropping the heels towards the mat. A little bit of a bend through the knee if that helps your hips rise. As we gently walk to the front of the mat for our forward fold. A bit of a bend through the knees. Always think belly to thighs. We don't ever want to just be arching over, trying to make a forward fold. We always want to think we're pulling through the hands on the legs if available. And we just want to keep those hips towards the sky as long as we can. Really think hips high. And that can be belly to thigh to make the hips nice and high. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, rise up, tall mountain. Exhale, hands to the heart center, Samasthiti. Beautiful work. Hands to the side, shake it out. As we now step our right foot down the mat, pivoting both feet to the long edge of the mat. Preparing for our wide-legged forward fold. Hands on hips, core is on, glutes are on. You'll definitely start feeling it activating through the inner legs as we hinge at the hips. Wide leg forward fold, hands to the mat, and you're going to know where your best position in space is as you can stay nice and buoyant on the hands. You can support yourself. If you had to, you could stand back up at any time. Find the position. Maybe you can take the legs a little bit wider and stay buoyant on those fingertips. Here, folding over, hinging at the hips, folding towards the ground. Now, if your forearms are resting on the ground, maybe it's in your practice to keep the head on the mat too, if that's available. If not, and if the ground is quite far away, totally fine. Again, cushions, blocks, anything, using your hands to support your body. We just want to try and make our hips as relaxed as we can whilst pushing through the outside blades of those feet to make the adductors nice and open. So all the inside of our legs. Camera played funny buggers then. So coming out of our wide-legged forward fold, coming down onto our knees, wrapping the feet around as we come down to a lying down position. Bending knees into the chest, nice flat back on the ground. Bending right knee in as we gently cross the right foot over into a figure 4 position. So right foot is on the left knee. And if it's available to you, grabbing through and threading the needle to pull that left shin closer towards the body, or right hand inside right knee, pushing hip out nice and wide, wherever feels better for you. Our goal here is to really open the outside of that right hip. Really just breathe in, create some space in that hip. Deepen the breath to find some more space. Keep pushing that right knee out in space. If now you feel you have some available, maybe really pushing that knee and keep pulling that left knee in towards the body. Beautiful work. Exhale, planting feet on the ground, so feet at mat width, hands out just nice and wide, and we're just going to windscreen wiper the knees. So dropping the knees to the right with the feet nice and wide, and then over to the left. Let's just keep going here, right and left, just a couple rounds. Just release the tension through those hips. Beautiful work. One more each side. So you bend knees into chest, figure 4 on the left. Bending at the left knee, bringing the left foot to inside just on top of the right thigh, at the top of the knee there. Opening through the left knee. Maybe we're grabbing the shin, maybe pulling on the back of the thigh, wherever feels most comfortable to you, as we find space in the outside of that left hip. Feel free to close down the eyes. Just really drop in here. It's a big opener if your hips are quite tight like mine. And I love it. With every breath, find a little more space. Maybe you want to switch it up and push on the inside of the left knee and just open that as much as you can, like a can opener. So keep pulling that right knee towards the body. Beautiful work. Unwinding the legs, feet nice and wide, windscreen wiper to the left. Then the right, couple rounds here, just shake all of that out. Beautiful work. We're going to finish in a bound angle pose today. So you're going to be sitting up, bringing the base of the feet together, hands gently around the feet or around the ankles and knees, wherever you feel more comfortable. We're just going to gently lengthen through the spine and drop the knees towards the mat. Now that our hips are nice and open, if you like, maybe grabbing the ankles and using the elbows to push down on the knees. That is fine to do as long as your spine remains straight. I don't want us crunching and hunching into that one. So think, if you were to bend forward, chin to shin, as we gently tilt the chest forward to really drop those knees open. If it's available to you and it's within your practice, feel free here to do a full fold over the legs. My hips are always quite tight. That's an angle that I'm working on. So I like to just use the elbows to open the knees to create more space through the hips, but always think chin over shin. Keep that spine nice and long. Beautiful work. Knees back together, taking feet down to one side and relax. Well done. I know that was a little bit of a tough one. However, your legs will be thanking you for it, your hips will be thanking you for it, and everything in between. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon.